Yalumba have always been a very important name to us because they're a lovely, fun family winery. And of course, my mentor Brian Walsh used to be the chief winemaker at Yalumba for many, many years, and so we used to have a lot to do with them, and they were very helpful in those early years. And also we had actually had a bit of Riesling here, a little bit of Riesling and Traminer, maybe only about all up probably a half an acre of each in the front block, which we grafted over to some years ago. Well, actually early years. We did it probably in 93, I think, 94. We grafted those over to that Riesling and the Traminer over to Shiraz. And because we were just starting off, we had very minimal winemaking facilities anyway, but we certainly didn't have any appropriate to be doing white winemaking. And I think white winemaking, it's important to use, obviously, chilling equipment. So we used to get Lee Hunt, which was then named as Huntley Winery down the road. He also had some Riesling and Traminer, and we ended up putting both of those varieties together. And he made pretty smart wine, actually, not big volume.
For us, or for?
Yeah, well, for him too. But we used to get some back bottled ourselves, maybe 20, 30, 40 cases, and which we didn't put in the market, as I recall. Riesling has always been tricking up here, not to mention Traminer. We just don't get the acid required to really have a good basis for a decent Riesling. So always when I drink a Riesling, particularly from Yalumba, I think what an important part of our life they have been in those our early years. And also I reminisce that it would have been nice to have some of that Riesling still here to play with. That would have been really exciting.
One of your favourite grapes, isn't it?
It is my favourite grape. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Nothing like a good Riesling. And this is a very good example. It's not their highest quality, but it lacks a little bit of depth, but it's still a refreshing, acid-driven style, and always pleasant.
Good overview.
Thank you.
Thanks for jumping in there. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, as is always the case.
Did my Cheerios my brother go through?
No, he didn't go through, so you're going to have to go again.
Special Cheerios with my brother, Dennis. I hope you're watching. Enjoy the show.
I think that's the first time Dad's ever said Cheerio, so it's a special debut for you guys on that word too. No, thanks for joining us for Wonder Wednesday. We really enjoyed last week where we got you to ask us some questions about, things that you've always wondered about wine that you've never had the opportunity to ask. And we had a really good response. And we sort of, as we were chatting through last week, we started saying, well, what are you guys drinking? Do you have any questions about the wines that you already are drinking every day or every second day or once a week that you wanted us to have a taste with you or comment? So we thought this week we might, as Dad's already launched in, we might taste a couple of wines that aren't in our portfolio, more everyday wines you can get from the bottle shop, and just see what we think. So Dad's already commented on the Yalumba Riesling. What region is it, Dad?
I don't think it is a region.
It is.
Oh, it's Barossa.
Barossa.
Mm.
So this is what it looks like.
Good honest wine.
I think the thing that people might not know about Barossa Valley is that it actually has two sub-regions that form the Barossa, which is the Barossa Valley floor and the Eden Valley. Gets a lot hotter on the floor of the valley in the Barossa, and a lot cooler in the Eden Valley. Eden Valley is generally where they make those really crisp, lemon, really tight, acidic style Rieslings.
My style of Riesling.
Which we love. Mm-hmm. This one is probably a mixture of both. It's definitely a little bit more tropical flavoured. It just tastes
that's
a little
pithy,
bit...
Lovely.
You like it?
Yeah, that pithiness that you can get like a citrus skin, not the skin, the white part, pulp.
Pith,
and there's two things, the skin and the pith. Sort of puts some savoury edge to it.
Mm-hmm.
enjoyable.
Very good. We've had our first comment. Thanks, Emma. A Pinot Gris once it's okay to go out and about again. Oh, is that what you're going to get? And Steph prefers a Shiraz or a Merlot. Hey, Pinot Gris is quite a contentious, but it's actually a wine that's sort of misunderstood a bit. So do you know how you see Pinot Grigio and Pinot Gris on a bottle? And sometimes they taste a bit different. Something people that don't quite realise is that Pinot Grigio is Italian, and it's a stylistic thing. It's the same grape, but it's a stylistic thing. So Pinot Grigio is generally made in a stainless steel tank, very minimal or no oak influence, so no sweet flavours of oak and no oxygenation, which sort of rounds it out. So Pinot Grigio
It's all fruit expression.
Really crisp. And Pinot Gris, again, same grape, different style of wine. They pick it a lot later, so you get a bit more like toffee or
more riper characters.
Yeah, apple, like red apple flavours, pear, and they also oak it, and they also tend to leave a little bit of sugar in it, so it can be a lot fuller in body.
And sometimes quite broad. And I think that for me detracts away from the whole concept of having a nice white style.
Well, that's why it's important to understand the differences in style, because some people like that bigger style wine, like a Chardonnay or a really oaked Chardonnay, or a sweet wine.
Trying to do a Viognier that's a more austere style or a super ripe style.
Yeah.
You know, like they do in the Rhone. You know, so it's 14% alcohol. It's broad, a very rich wine, all heavily oaked. Unfortunately, that's not a style that I enjoy. But there is a similarity between that and the Pinot Grigio and the Pinot Gris. But and it is certainly style preference.
Got something in your eye there?
Yeah, it's itchy.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. So I think we both agree our preference is for Pinot Grigio.
Yes.
Do I agree on that?
Yes.
Yes. It's very important that we agree on that.
Well, everyone's allowed their own taste, flavour, but I think Pinot Grigio also falls a bit more into that Vermentino category, where it's a really nice crisp, sometimes a bit more savoury style white wine.
Yep.
Yeah. I also just wanted to take the opportunity to spruik a little. I'm actually I think it's the 20th of May on a Wednesday, in 2 weeks. I'm going to be involved in a Women in Wine tasting for Heathcote.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Did I tell you about that?
You did, and well done to you.
Thank you.
It'll be good.
It's going to be taking part in 2 stages, so over 2 weeks. And on the 13th, there's 3 women winemakers or women that are owner or affiliated with some of the wineries here. And then the part 2 is where I'll be taking place. So our good friends Tracy from Silver Spoon and Jess at Farmer and the Scientist is going to join me on our little panel. You can do it for free on Facebook just like this, or you can buy a 6-pack of the wines that we're tasting over the 2 weeks, and you can pay to be part of a special private Zoom tasting.
So who do they direct that to?
I'm a co-host, so it's on Munari Wine's page. Just follow the prompts. It's actually promoted by Sanguine Estate, so they're a really big, prominent producer here with a big, great reputation. So they're organising it for us, which is a real compliment to be part of.
So they can either order the 6-packs from us? From Jody?
Should be able to. I aim to put it on the website, but I'm actually not sure if the plan is to put it on the website after the tasting as just a bonus or before. But I would say go to the event page and then go through the Sanguine Estate.
Which is a very good initiative too for women winemakers here. So it should be really interesting to follow.
Yeah, I hope we can see everyone there. I've got a couple of questions here.
Thanks, Peter.
Scratch the itch, Peter says. He's known. I noticed I've called out Dad on this. Helen says, why do you call some wines by region and other wines by grape varietal? Yeah, okay, cool. I get it. So sometimes we say Shiraz.
From Barossa.
Yep. Or sometimes we say, "Oh, are you drinking Burgundy tonight?"
Is that the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why do you call some wines by the region? So Burgundy wine, or sometimes we say it's just a Shiraz. A lot of the old world wine regions, I think, and we touched on this a little bit last week too. Some of the old world wine regions are really governed by history. They've actually trademarked their region as an entity, I guess. And those regions are, they must use grapes of that origin, of that region, to be called Burgundy, for example. So generally in Burgundy is Pinot Noir and Chardonnay.
And that's it. Nothing else.
There's probably some indigenous varieties in there, but yeah, they're the main two. Whereas in Australia, we're a lot more liberal. We're a new wine producing country in the scheme of things.
We have very few restrictions. In fact, no restrictions whatsoever.
On what we can grow or produce.
Except our restrictions, as we all know, is all to do with label integrity.
We don't all know that, but we can go over it.
It's important that our customers know in Australia what we're giving them. So we say it's a Shiraz. They know it's at least 85% Shiraz minimum, and they know it's coming from in this case, our Heathcote region, or from the Barossa, from McLaren. But that's information we must disclose to our customers, and I reckon that's fair enough. It's long been due, and we've all been to Europe and been frustrated by sommeliers who won't tell you what is in a wine, what varieties are in there, or basically where sometimes, in fact, where it's even from, and because they don't need to be doing that, giving you information. But our label integrity means we must inform our customers of what they're drinking.
Truth in labelling. So this is a good example. This says Riesling on the front label, so we know it has to be at least 85% Riesling. So there is a little bit of allowance. It says it's Barossa, so we know again it has to be at least 85% fruit from the Barossa. And it says 2019, which is beautiful, by the way. If you're going to drink a crisp wine like this, you want to drink it young. So 2019 means it would have been bottled middle of last year. It's been in the bottle for 9 months. Great example. So it also has to be 85% from that year, that vintage. Yep. So that's a good example. We've got another really good question from Michael. They're drinking Coonawarra Riesling. What do you think? What do we know about Coonawarra Riesling?
Oh, actually, we had one the other night. We had a Coonawarra the other night.
Not a Riesling. A Pedro.
Oh, that was Pedro.
Yes, it was actually following on from last week's video where we said what's one of Dad's favourite styles of wine, which was a sort of a sweet sherry style wine called the grapes Pedro Ximenez or Ximenez.
Ximenez.
So we had one of them.
We know the people have asked this question.
I think we do. We're getting a lot of good support from our friends and family, so we appreciate that. So Coonawarra Riesling. Make an assumption on that.
Well, she's a little bit warmer in there. I would suspect that we'd be looking at something a little bit more, slightly fuller, more probably tropical.
See, I disagree with that because Coonawarra has a sea breeze as coastal. It has coastal breezes, which means, like for Cabernet, it's a longer growing season. It's a cooler region, so I would expect the Riesling to be quite good. I would expect it to be hanging on the vines a little bit longer, like midway into the season, to get concentration and acidity. I would expect it to be pretty tasty, although it's not very common, is it?
Yeah, sometimes sea breeze you don't get the concentration. Look, anyway, perhaps the people who are drinking that might give us their view quickly. They've already probably had half a bottle anyway.
Did you know that Coonawarra soil is some of the oldest in the world?
Not as old as ours.
It's like
ours is our base material is 550 million years old.
That's in Heathcote.
That's the greenstone. That's the foundation rock.
Yeah, I think Coonawarra is like I think Coonawarra is like 300 million. How much is that?
550 is beyond 300.
Yeah. Well, I was a bit younger when I learned that stat from Coonawarra when I was down there.
I think we're miles ahead. But they have graced with that beautiful limestone underneath. So
What's that
as is
do?
greenstone.
Yeah.
Oh, you tell them.
You
Go
tell him. You know what? Limestone is a good base for wines. You know what else has limestone? Is Champagne region, doesn't it? It's like a chalky limestone base. They say that kind of soil, I know in terms of the flavour profile, it gives it more of that
Chalky.
Yeah, chalky texture, which sounds silly to say it's such a direct.
Well, I suppose, I mean, when you think of it, I mean, all those well-draining, soil structures, they're not, they're passing through very quickly.
That's right.
So the vines have got a small opportunity to take
it?
those nutrients out very quickly, and then to translate that into the vine. So I think that's why you tend to get those more elegant styles in those soils.
Yeah, finesse, yeah.
More finesse. Chalkiness.
Yeah, good call. Limestone's very porous, isn't it?
We're getting feedback from those people who are drinking the.
Yeah, we got some feedback. It
What'd they
says
say?
a bit. You were right. It's a bit sweet. Prefer dry and flinty. So you were right.
Well, I don't know whether I was right.
You said it might be a bit more tropical, so it does sound like they've got a more of a ripe flavour. I'm just going to check if I've got our Instagram feed coming through here. We've got some greetings from
It's not the Prime Minister, is it?
No, Oliver says greetings from McLaren Vale.
Oh, yeah.
They have some limestone here called Eocene, going back 35 million years.
Yeah. Well, still behind the 550.
Yeah, 550 is pretty
Pretty
good,
up there.
isn't it? Just going to check our questions tab here. You can keep.
No, I wasn't, Peter. I wasn't a maths teacher. I was a nuclear scientist for a while, for maybe 2 terms, and then they realised they couldn't. I still didn't know much, so I went back out to do phys ed. But thanks for that comment.
I actually don't know if all our viewers can see the comments, but I'm pretty sure they can. But Peter's joking. Was that a maths teacher?
We didn't talk about maths, did we?
Did you say you were a teacher?
Yeah, 550 is bigger than 300.
Agree with the taste. Oh, good.
Who said
Oliver
that?
agrees with the taste profile on the limestone.
Okay,
so
great.
Good job.
Thank you.
I mean, I'd like to say at this point, we don't all. I think everyone in the wine industry and in life would say, you're never an expert.
No.
You never know everything there is to know.
No.
We all have we all have a general idea by talking to each other and learning, but yeah.
Well, I'm good up to 10 in maths.
I'm talking about wine. Okay.
Well,
Next question. Thank you. This is wonderful. When I taste the wine at a restaurant, can I say I don't like it and send it back? It's a pretty good one, isn't it?
it is a good one, and it's actually brings up quite a few things actually. When you get a wine and you say you don't like it, if you've got a reasonable knowledgeable base, and it's because the wine is super, say, oxidized, or it's got come out of, there's a cork in there, there's a cork tainted. Then you're certainly within your right to demand a refund or a replacement, and we've all done that 100 times. And but there's also always going to be somebody who'll say, "Oh, well, look, I'm sorry, I disagree with you. I don't believe that's cork tainted. It's just a style of wine, and unfortunately, we're not going to give you a bottle back." Now, most sommeliers, if they're worth anything, will say, "Well, okay, you didn't like it. You're suggesting this cork taint there. I'll accept it, and we'll give you a replacement." But having said that, if you get a Riesling and you didn't look at the label and you see that you're thinking you're going to get a nice dry German style and it ends up 90 grams of sugar, and it's completely broad and not necessarily broad, I won't use that term.
Just sweet. Or off dry.
Then I don't think one's entitled to turn around and say, "I don't like this wine.
Yeah.
I want a replacement."
I think there's a difference between saying you don't like it,
Yes,
because you chose the wrong style,
that's it.
versus what is a faulty wine.
Yeah,
and I think if you have an inkling that your wine is faulty, then you should definitely be able to speak to the sommelier and say, "Why don't you taste it? You let me know."
Exactly.
it's a little bit tricky. Soms, even though they should be tasting the wine. If they go and open it away from you, they should be tasting it. Sometimes, and I think this is a bit cheeky, this is what I think, might not be all the time. I think they taste that wine and they bring it back to you and they let you decide if you like it, or if they let you decide if you think it's faulty. And if you think it's fine, they'll never say a thing.
No.
And I think that's a bit cheeky.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're always within your rights to ask them to taste it.
And if you're going to do it, hold your guns.
Yeah.
Be firm about it.
Yeah.
It's your buddy. If you're paying $70, $80, or $90 a bottle of wine, and I guess even if you don't like the style, you could cheat a bit and say, oh, well, I think it's really oxidised, or it's tainted or whatever. Then I think you probably get away with it. But I think it's tough. Always tough on those restaurants when you're displeasing the wine because of the style itself.
Yeah. Again, we started this Wonder Wednesday today asking you what you're drinking, so we could talk a little bit more about what you're enjoying or what you might not understand about what you're already drinking. I've got another wine over here, and this is a sort of a house favourite of ours. It's Le Petit Rosé by Jacob's Creek, and this wine is a little bit close to my heart actually, because I, as I say, cut my teeth at Jacob's Creek. I guess I really cut my teeth here, and then I broadened my experience at Jacob's Creek. But I worked for Pernod Ricard winemakers for Alan keeps writing in caps. I love it. I had a really good experience at Pernod for about 3 years. They sent me basically around the world for 9 months training and learning about their wineries globally. I lived in Sydney for a couple of years after that, and I was part of the launch plan for Le Petit Rosé. I did a lot of workshops and consumer tastings with rosé, which I thought was really fun, because I think rosé is a little bit of a misunderstood category.
Right.
Sometimes, there's a lot of things like, if it's really red, it must be really sweet, or French rosé is better than Australian rosé, or
it's got a funny colour, must be right.
Yeah, it's sort of a bit brown or something. Something's wrong with it. But I do love this wine. It helps that we get discounted rates as well. Had some questions come through. That's great. Thank you, Michael. And Peter.
Give me
Susan, thank
break,
you.
Michael. What you got? Almighty.
Good. I'm going to go through all those comments in just a second. Thank you, everybody.
Bloody hell.
So what why do we love this wine? That's what I want to talk about.
Is the question why do we like this wine in particular, or why do we like rosé?
Well, I like this wine in particular because what do we know? Basically, we've talked about the labelling laws. So actually all this says is it's a dry and crisp rosé, which is not, you could say anything. It does say the vintage 2019, so we know it's going to be young. We know it's going to be really nice and crisp still. And surprisingly, it doesn't have the grapes on it either. So
no, that's interesting.
It doesn't have the grapes on it. So you don't know exactly. Every grape has a particular flavour profile.
It's always had a gorgeous nose. It's just so refreshing and lovely, nice red fruits.
A bit cherry, isn't it? It's like not sour cherry, but fresh cherry, like vibrant.
Vibrant. So it's just a lovely vibrantness about it, and so it's immediately I'm immediately drawn to that wine, because it's really basically a summation of why you like a wine, why you drink a wine.
Yeah. So
as I often say, it's got a fabulous start to a wine. You can't get more inviting than it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a lot. I mean, aroma is where it starts, isn't it? It's beautiful. It's really aromatic. This has a really nice texture. It has quite a bit of substance to it without being heavy or overpowering.
No, that's true.
It's got good,
like almost a medium weight.
Yeah. Even though by the colour, again, you wouldn't really expect it to be called medium weight or medium bodied for that style.
It's got that nice freshness on the palate. Still those
It's a bit-
nice red fruits.
bit creamy on the,
Mm.
not creamy, but it's got again, it's the texture to finish that makes it more velvety, actually. And that's sort of probably
It seems a bit hidden.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's quite
maybe
cold.
after the Riesling too, that just this feels a little bit dull.
Yeah.
On the palate.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, we had a couple more questions there.
Yeah.
Excuse me while I lean in.
Uh-oh.
It's okay.
Buddy Peter Pitcher keeps
Stop.
interfering all the time.
Is it weird that I like my red wine slightly chilled? No,
No,
it's not weird.
No, that's true.
Certainly not when you're in front of a roasting fireplace like we are at the moment. But when you chill your wines, the tannins become more apparent, and tannin is
More
that
aggressive.
drying, grippy feeling you get when you drink usually a red wine, although there is tannins like I just talked about in rosé and white wine. But why not?
That's your fancy?
The other thing about chilling wine is that it actually, it's like a person. If you chill wine, it kind of goes into a state of almost like a hibernation. It closes off. And that means you won't get the full aroma and the full flavors of that wine because they're sort of all tight, hidden.
That's right. It subdues the wine. It makes it become introvert, and then by chilling it. So all wines you put in the fridge, just like a cold white wine, it tends to get a bit closed. Needs to breathe.
Oh, that's Panther up.
Needs to breathe.
Come here.
And
Come here.
but red wine, there's nothing wrong with that. Particularly if it's a meatier bottom style, I think I think it's quite acceptable.
Yes. Yes.
As opposed to a rosé. So like a Pinot or India, another example.
No, I was looking at Panther.
Okay.
Sangiovese? Are you talking about
possibly,
white reds?
Maybe
Gamay, Sangiovese.
Gamay, another good
Even
example.
Nebbiolo is a light red, but it has a really heavy tannin profile.
Yeah,
so
I
maybe
think.
not.
But certainly nothing wrong with that having it chilled. But not too chilled. Just take the edge off it, or on it. Sorry, put the edge on it. That'll be fine.
Good. So even though Dad's been giving Peter's our local, one of our local beer brewers.
There he is.
In Heathcote. So shout out to Parling Brothers Brewery.
Former band member.
In Heathcote. He was in Dad's band as well. Fun fact, Dad is in a band called the Vino Sapiens with two or three other winemakers and one ring-in, but he's really good at the bass. So he's allowed to be in it because it's actually really good music. So the Vino Sapiens sometimes play locally. Watch our Facebook for the next live performance, or maybe they can do one live. So back to Peter's question: what was Heathcote's best vintage year?
Good question.
Great.
I reckon the 2004 was probably the vintage of the previous century, even though it was still 4 years ahead, but certainly still miles ahead even at this stage. 2004 was fantastic, and certainly probably the best one we've ever had. Just the fruit balance, flavours, was just fantastic. We're even trying next time you come up, Peter. Well, when we do have our dinner, I'll bring some 2000. In fact, I was going to do that last time. Bring some of the 2004s for dinner. So I'll bring a couple. I've got a Merlot, I've got a Shiraz, and
Are you just having a private conversation with Peter now?
probably at this stage. Yeah. But we'll do something. But certainly for me, 2004. But there's been other good ones. 2006.
2012 was a standout year, wasn't
2012 was a standout.
That was a standout nationally.
2012. 2002 was good. 2002 was good. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 was shit.
11 was not very good.
11 was we had a good finish in 11. 12 was good. And of the recent ones, we're not seeing many recent ones at the moment. Standouts.
No.
At this
12
point.
was the last best.
Yeah,
I mean, 15's a good year. This vintage was very good,
Yeah, it
but
was. No,
the
no,
quality
fruit,
was. Sorry, the quality was definitely up. The quantity was very much down. So
So-
we're reporting 60% down on our yield this year, as is many other producers.
So, Peter, 2004 for me.
Yep.
Standout.
This is a good one. On Saturday, we're having a chef Zoom session with burrata cheese, burrata cheese ravioli. What wine should we drink, please? Oh, with burrata.
You're good in the food, India.
Oh, if anyone doesn't know what burrata is, it's like a big mozzarella ball. I'm pretty sure they actually inject cream into the middle. I think that's how it works. And then you cut it open and it all just oozes everywhere. So I guess that burrata is in the ravioli. They must just cut a bit off. So it's going to be really creamy pasta, basically.
What one?
I hate to be so stereotypical, but it's going to be rich. So you could go two ways. When you do food pairing, you can go, and we touched on this last week, you can go like for like or contrast. So the like for like on this occasion would be a more creamy style, sort of rich wine. So you might think about an oat Chardonnay or Pinot Gris, a light Pinot Gris.
Pinot Gris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. We're on the same page there.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Might be a bit too fruity though, so maybe stick to Chardonnay. The opposite is something like a Vermentino, Pinot Grigio, or Riesling, where you have something really crisp that cuts that creaminess, cuts that richness right through, refreshes the palate, so you can go back and you can get that delicious richness again.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Well, I'm not very good with food and wine.
You eat food.
Yeah,
you drink
but
wine.
I think probably I'd agree with that. But I can't think of any other alternative creamy sauce like that.
Again, but like for like, so it's sort of a rich food, but it's not like a huge steak.
Don't ask each
So
other.
you could do a light.
Ask your other brother-in-law.
Stop it. You could do a light red, like Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir would be pretty good. Or Gamay is one of my faves at the moment. Or Sangiovese, something that's got some substance to it, but it's not too heavy.
Some more savoury ones might go all right, actually.
Yeah, Sangi or...
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah, that'd be little... Even good.
Can you bring some over here once it's done?
Yeah, exactly.
And then leave it at the door because social distancing. Of course.
Exactly. Yeah, thanks for that.
Thank you. So, again, sorry to lean into the camera. Susan, I had my first dozen Munari Reds delivered yesterday. Thank you. Ladies Pass is just a superb Shiraz. You certainly produce some world-class, delicious wine.
Oh, well, that's a beautiful
That's
comment.
nice.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, Susan.
Excellent.
Andy, Adrian makes a lovely drop, that's for sure. Oh, flattery's coming in here. Love it. Thank you. Warwick, I really enjoy watching these live streams. When is Adrian going to smash out some quick drums? That looks like an insider. That's an insider knowledge because we didn't say you play the drums, did we?
No, we didn't actually.
We didn't.
No.
Peter Pitchett, agree. 2012 and 14 as I drink my cellar. So that's the years that you prefer. So that's excellent. Wow. So I had some really good commentary on this session. Thank you, everyone. I'm glad you can enjoy our wines, and I'm glad you feel comfortable to ask us some questions. Maybe just another something I wanted to touch on, which sort of links into things that we've been talking about already, is, and something that I'm passionate about. I'm actually writing like a blog piece on it. How can you choose a bottle of wine at the bottle shop? You know, what should people be looking for? Like, because I know for sure a lot of people choose their wines by the label. That's okay. A label should give you an indication of the style of wine.
When you look at that.
Yeah, look at this one. You expect something really pretty and light and aromatic, and I think that's totally fair enough. You've got, Panther, it was me. Panther, come here, please. Panther. I wanted to get him in the view, in the screen for you. Come here. Come here. Come here, please. Come here. Okay. Well, there's like pretty, I know, again, just the first thing that comes to mind is another Pernod Ricard brand, St. Hugo. They've got a very tall bottle with a white label, and it's got very bold text, so you expect something like pretty serious. So yeah, that's fair enough. I look at the year, not because of the way we were talking about the best vintages, only that if I'm drinking a crisp style wine, I want to make sure it's young. Exactly. For one, some of those bottle shops have like wines that have been on the shelves for way too long. Like,
that's a good point, actually.
I wouldn't be drinking a rosé or a crisp white that was older than 2018, and that's pushing it now. The other thing I want to know is, what is the region? By knowing what the region is, you can have a pretty good indication of what the style of that wine's going to be.
Yes. A
cooler region will produce a lighter style, more acidic, in a good way, wine. A warmer region, Barossa, Hunter, Rutherglen, will produce because they produce riper grapes, it's warmer, more sugar in the grapes. They make wines that are more full-bodied, higher in alcohol, bigger tannin structure.
So what you're saying, it really depends on what your preference is.
Yeah, of course, but you need to look at a few key elements like the year and the region to decide what that style is going to be. So it's a little bit of a geography lesson as well.
Be clear on what it is that you want for your dinner, though, for your wine.
For your wine.
As you said, yeah. So do you want red wine? You want something that's full-bodied, medium-bodied, light style. Whites, you want something that's aged, something that's fresh. And I think sometimes you've got to do that think about what it is that you do want to buy for your dinner, in this case.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. Good night to Michael.
And Meg.
M&M.
M&M.
Any one of our Instagram followers, I'd love it if you wanted to give us a wave, give us a question. What are you drinking? Or, what are you drinking? What do you want to know about? Do you have a question on Wonder Wednesday that you've always wondered about that you've never had the opportunity to ask? Let us know.
Yep.
We've gone over a Riesling tonight, which there was one of the first times we've had that wine. It was good. It was a sound wine.
So, which now that we're having a bit of a lull, what's our topic for next week?
I don't know. Obviously the Wonder Wednesday theme. I think it's the 13th already next week. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Next week at around. No, we can still get in Wonder Wednesday. It's okay. Yeah. So
what's the next week?
Tune in to Wonder Wednesday. I think we're going to go 6 or 6:30. Because that's when the first Women in Wine for the Heathcote region session is going to be promoted. Oh, so I'm encouraging everyone to go to the Munari Wines Facebook, look at our event, which is Women in Wine for Heathcote. Check out the free live tasting, or buy the pack of wines and do the tasting at home. So join us at 6 or 6:30, then head over to Sanguine Estate Wines. We'll be promoting that and hosting it on their Facebook page. So do get across to that. But back to your point, what do you want the topic to be? Maybe we could do our own wines next week.
Yeah, we can do that.
We've
had two wonderful, very flattering comments from people.
From Susan.
I'm not too sure about the drums, but so who's Susan?
It was Susan and Andy, I think.
Well, maybe somebody Susan. Could.
They've both talked about our one. One was a lady's pass. One was not. Didn't name a wine, but makes a lovely job. So I think what we did do. We did send out a pack called the Classic Shiraz Cabernet Pack. So for our special mailing list friends on this sort of promotion we've just done once a year, we made up a pack called the Classic Shiraz Cabernet Pack, and it had Ladies Pass Shiraz, it had the Beauregard Shiraz, It had the Gun Picker Shiraz Cabernet. It had a 2013 India Red Cabernet and a 2015 India Red Cabernet. And that was probably the most popular pack that we sold, actually. So perhaps our customers that bought that or would like to buy that, we could make that the focus next week. Do those 4 wines.
Yep.
Just talk through them a little bit.
So those people, encourage those people who have those wines to perhaps
to tune in
and
taste
bring the
them
wines
with us. Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, as we go through, we're always going to be taking your questions for Wonder Wednesday.
Okay.
If you like. So yeah, give us some feedback on that. Tell us what you think. We'll go from 6 again, and then we can be finished for the 7 o'clock Women in Wine. What have we been? We've been live for 40 minutes. I think that's a good place to finish it up.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us. Instagram, Facebook. I'm sorry that Panther didn't get in the frame. We might be able to get him there just. So he's been in the shot the whole time. And Tiger was here earlier, but we've missed out on him too. Thank you for joining us. Happy Wonder Wednesday.
Yep.
Wine shouldn't be hard to understand.
No.
It's not hard to understand.
Remember, it's not worth drinking crap wine.
That's true too.
Okay? Life's too short.
Yeah.
Okay? So enjoy your wines, enjoy your week, stay safe, and we'll look forward to you all tuning in.
Wednesday, 6 o'clock next week.
Okay.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Whoa.